In this class we're going to talk about services marketing. Well, we can imagine different types of services. For example, the services of the government. Government provide many services. Roads, policing, education, health, security, all sorts of services. So that's one type. The second type is not-for-profit organizations. There are many charities who provide excellent services for needy people, for homeless people, or for unemployed people who are looking for jobs and need a point in the right direction. So there are many types of services provided by these organizations. But there are also business services. Now these are normally supplied for profit. These are commercial services, such as law. The lawyers who provide legal advice provide a service. Accountants provide a service. Then there's consultancy, yet another service. The media is a service. Well, a lot of the media is. Perhaps you could say that a newspaper does exist, it's a product. But a lot of the media and a lot of the output of the media may be classified as a service. And there are other services: medical, educational, military, policing, as I've said earlier, and so on. The list may be extended. The nature and characteristics of a service, well, these tend to be, or are, intangibility, inseparability, variability, and perishability. Now let's skip through these briefly to see what each one means. Intangibility refers to the fact that the service cannot be seen or tasted. It's not a physical product. It's not amenable to the senses. The senses don't pick up on services. The senses pick up on physical products. Something which is tactile, something which can be touched. It can be experienced. Services are not like that. Services cannot be touched in the same way. They are not physical products. They can't be experienced with the senses. In terms of inseparability, this refers to the fact that the service cannot be separated from the providers. The providers of the service are needed to make the service available. Now that may sound very, very straightforward, but it means that the service cannot be provided. Now wait for this one. The services cannot be provided without a service provider. Okay. In other words, putting it simply, the service cannot be separated out from the provider. The provider is necessary to make the service available. Variability. Well, it refers to the fact that service quality depends on who provides it, as well as when, where, and how it is provided. So the service may be variable. It's not necessarily a constant. Services in different areas may have different characteristics. It may vary. The service may be good or bad. In restaurants, the service may be good or bad. Different times of the day, the service may be different. It may be good or bad. So services can be variable. And also perishability refers to the fact that services cannot be stored for later sale or use. We can't store up services. We can't buy the service today and store it and use it tomorrow. Services are at the instant. We buy and experience the service straight away. It can't be stored up and used at a later time. So these are the characteristics of a service. Now let's turn to marketing strategies for service firms. Well, In addition to traditional marketing strategies, service firms often require additional strategies. So we have the traditional strategies, perhaps pricing, place, product, promotion. Now we have extra ones. We have a service chain, a service profit chain, I should say. This links the service firm profits with employee and customer satisfaction. In order for the service to be successful, the provider must be motivated to deliver a good service. And this may mean that the provider who meets the customer directly, the provider must have incentives. And this means that there may be a linkage between the remuneration of the service provider and the profitability of the business. In other words, a share of the price received may go to the service provider to give the service provider the motivation to give a good experience to the customer. It may also lead to internal marketing. For example, it may be that within the organization, that the organization is organized in a way that means that the service providers are competing against each other. And maybe that is the way to deliver the service, so that different aspects of the service are delivered by different people, but they see themselves as in competition. So they are motivated to deliver a good service. And it could be some form of interactive marketing as well, where the customers are asked for feedback about the service and are follow-ups on the feedback. And if the feedback is adverse, then the service provider, the person who delivered the service, may be asked to explain why the service was not satisfactory or was so variable, or whatever the issue was identified by the customer. Now the service profit chain link needs to monitor internal routines and processes that will deliver service quality. So it's important to look at the organization from the inside to see what can be done to deliver service quality. And this may be caught up with number 2 here, which is the attitudes and training of the service staff, the people who are about to deliver the service. Their attitudes and training must be appropriate. And there must be a constant search for quality improvements, ways of doing it better. And there should also be good communications with satisfied and loyal customers. Good communications to get feedback and comments and recommendations as to how the service could be improved. And generally speaking, trying to grow the business through recognition of good quality service. Now the marketing strategies within service firms. Well, internal marketing is used to motivate all the functions of the business to satisfy customers. So internal marketing means setting one department almost against the other department, or making them competitive to try and ensure that they supply good service. Internal customers are those who deliver value to the final customers. The internal customers include the internal functions that provide value to the final customers. So all the way through the business, the emphasis should be on providing good service to the final customer. Internal customers may include functions that link the marketing function, for example, distribution, production, training, and R&D. Internal marketing must precede external marketing. So the internal marketing must come first. They must get it right about how to deliver the product from start to finish, starting within the organization, starting at the first phase, taking it right through the organization up to the final phase. And the final phase being satisfying the final customer need. The marketing strategies for the service firms. Well, interactive marketing means that service quality depends on the quality of the buyer-seller interaction during the service encounter. So interactive marketing is looking at the buyer-seller interactive situation, the interaction between them, the interactive relationship that they have at the point at which the service is delivered. And this means that the service should be differentiated. It should be seen as a high quality service, as a good service, and the productivity of the service in satisfying the customer needs must be recognized by the customer. And that must be all fed back through the system, through the business system, to identify good practice and to eliminate bad practice. So there is a point at the point of interaction in which communications and information is saved up to be communicated backwards. So communications is the mind of the service provider. Service differentiation creates a competitive advantage and may be based on offer, delivery, and image of the service. So service differentiation is important. So because it may lead to competitive advantage. Offers may be distinguished by terms, financing, and service terms. So if it's a service, let's say a service to maintain a piece of equipment in the home, then it may the relationship between the customer and the organization may be bolstered by having clear terms of the service. In other words, a contract which has clear terms. Financing is straightforward, and the delivery terms are straightforward and easily understood. Delivery may be supported by customer communications and tracking, and that is important. The customer must be kept in the loop, must be informed about the service. It depends, of course, on the nature of the service. Services could be from a service in a restaurant to servicing a gas boiler in the home, or servicing a piece of electrical equipment in the home, or many countless other examples. But whatever it is, the customer must be kept in the loop. The customer must be informed about the service and kept informed about the nature of the problem, how it was solved, and the issues surrounding the whole problem. And there must be tracking in terms of delivery date. They must know when the service will be delivered and when it will be completed. The service image may be supported by linkage to an established brand. Well, if there is a strong brand in the market, then the service may be linked to that if the organisation has an existing brand. For example, in the UK, British Gas is a major supplier of gas to homes and industry for heating purposes normally. But British Gas also now provide servicing for gas products and also general servicing around the home for many different types of products, including electrical products. So what they're doing is associating the brand image of British Gas with the other products, with their services for the other products. They have extended their brand. Now, managing service quality. Well, the aim of managing service quality is to provide a competitive advantage by delivering consistently higher quality than its competitors. So the objective is quite straightforward. Deliver a better quality than the competitors at a competitive price, and in that way earn and win market share. Service quality varies depending on interactions between employees and customers. There's also an issue here that humans are coming in contact, and there may be disagreements between the humans on all sorts of issues. The chemistry may be wrong, which may jaundice the view that the customer has of the company and its service. So care and attention must be brought to bear on training service personnel to overcome issues of that nature, should they arise. Service recovery can turn disappointed customers into loyal customers. So if something has gone wrong and the customers are upset, if it's now fixed and the issue is resolved, then the customers may become loyal customers because they saw the efforts that the business had put in and that the service providers had put in to rectify the issue. So if something has gone wrong, it doesn't mean it's a disaster. It could turn out to be an opportunity for the business to show that it is caring and it does respect the feelings of the customer. Service recovery requires skills, and employees should be empowered to deal with customers flexibly. It's no good having a set of rules. The rules may not meet the circumstances and the situation that the service provider finds him or herself in. So flexibility could be down to responsibility. Having initiative, allowing the person to have flexibility to resolve any issue that the customer has, and having the authority to do so as well, without having to make phone calls back to the head office and waiting for approval, and all taking time and perhaps further alienating the customer. But it's also the case that the service provider should have the incentive to take that extra step to ensure that the customer is happy with the service. So there should be adequate incentives in the system to reward the service provider for a job well done. These are a few comments about the service sector, and again, it's worth going back over this, playing it again and making your own notes, and also doing some research. There are some PDFs on the topic that you should consult and make some notes out of there as well, and be prepared to discuss any of the issues that arise both within the PDFs and within the videos. In the meantime, that's all I want to say for the moment on this topic, so thank you for watching.